Today we're talking about point slope form from 11.4. First, let's review. We said that the slope-intercept form of a line is just a way to write an equation so that it's easy to graph. And we said that would be y equals mx plus b. In this case, the x and the y stood for points or a point on the line. The m stood for the slope, and then the b stood for the y-intercept. Well, we're going to kind of take a similar idea of using or rearranging an equation so that it's easy to use, easy to graph, and take information from. And this form is called the point slope form. The point slope form goes like this. You have y minus y sub 1 equals m times x minus x sub 1. And for this, we're still saying that we're going to say that x1 and y1 represent a point on the line, as well as just x and y are also representing a point on the line. The m, of course, is still slope. And notice here that we do not have a b or a y-intercept like we did for the slope-intercept form. I just want to put in this, we won't be using this too often, but we also see something called a standard form. And this is when you have the x and the y, the variables on one side, and then the constant on the other. So we'll notice that as ax plus by equals c. Notice that it's not mx like we're used to seeing, it's ax, because at this point, this a, the coefficient, does not represent the slope. Okay, so let's talk about how you can use a point slope form to find information about a line. So that's our Roman numeral 1, finding information about a line. So let's say, for example, I give you the point slope form that looks like this. Y minus 9 equals negative 2 over 3 times x minus 21. We can pull out some really easy information. First of all, we know that the m, in this case, the negative 2/3, that's the slope. So our slope equals negative 2/3. Also, from before, we said that the value of y1 here and the x1 here represents a point on the line. So when I look at this, I said there's a 9 and a 21. We'll put that into coordinate points, and we can say this is represented by 21, 9. Which now we can go ahead and graph. All you have to do is you're plotting 21, 9 on that coordinate point, and then using the slope of negative 2 over 3, so that you could do two ways. You could either go down 2 over to the right 3, or you could go up 2 over to the left 3. The only difference between point slope form and slope intercept form is slope intercept was really helpful if we already knew the y-intercept. If we don't know the y-intercept, you can go ahead and use a point slope form to plug in for a point that you know, and then you're able to create an equation using that. So the flip side of it is, well, how do you write an equation in point slope form? So here we go, Roman numeral 2, write an equation. If you're given the slope of -2 and a point which is 4, 1, use from the formula that we talked about over here, you just use y minus the y value here. The slope is -2. We have x, just leave that there, minus, and then x sub 1, which in this case is 4. So there you go, there's your equation. Now I know people are saying, okay, but the equation looks messy and slope-intercept form looks a lot neater. Well, the neat thing is once you have created this equation, you can usually easily simplify and rearrange to make it look like the point slope-intercept form. Let me show you how. That's Roman numeral 3. Change to slope-intercept form. I'm going to just go ahead and recopy this equation that we just came up with. Y minus 1 equals -2, x minus 4. And let's go ahead and start using order of operations and what we understand about algebra to simplify these things. So first of all, we do have to look inside the parentheses and notice that there's nothing more that can be done. Secondly, then we have to multiply or divide. I see that there is division here where there's -2. Don't forget that you have to distribute that -2. There, so we end up with y minus 1 equals -2 times x is -2x. -2 times -4 ends up being +8. Now if you look at that, you're going to see, oh, that's easy. I can just go, all I need to do is get y by itself. So let's just go ahead and add 1. Adding 1 to the other side then. And we end up with y equals -2x plus 9. And now you can look at this and realize that I have it as slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So that's how you can go easily from a point-slope form to a slope-intercept form.